My name is Rebecca Lorcy, and this is my presentation on leadership and professional development. This week, I chose to experiment in a conversation with my manager, Michelle, about the fruit bats that we take care of, and how we can make their lives better. I chose Michelle because she goes out of her way to listen to her peers' concerns, consistently asks for feedback on herself and fellow interns, and tries to make every interaction a learning opportunity. I thought she would be the perfect candidate for this, because she cares a great deal about our animals and is always looking for ways to improve their lives. I thought that the fruit bats would be a good topic of conversation, because many of my coworkers have differing opinions on how we take care of them. My goal was to get an understanding of how someone in management that's had the opportunity to work with these animals feels about their current conditions. My main points of focus were their living space, diet, and their enrichment. I decided I would measure the success of our conversation by how well Michelle listened to my concerns, responded about the topics, see if there was anything that she was able to teach me, and if she was able to improve any aspect about the bats' lives after our talk. The first thing we did was begin to prepare the diets. While we were doing this, I prompted, I think that these bats have some of the best variety of diet that I've seen of any of our zoo animals. She agreed with my analysis and talked about some of the 20 different fruits and vegetables that they receive daily, as well as 5 different flavors of nectar combinations that they're given. In this part of our exercise, she respected my opinion and took the moment to teach me about how we care for these fruit bats in a beneficial way. When we approached their living space, I commented on how this definitely wasn't keeper-friendly, because most of the time when we're working this enclosure, we're bent over and our backs are done by the end of it, but that this could use with some improvements for the bats as well. Michelle asked me, what types of ways do you see this exhibit being improved? I went on to explain that we could do with a bigger space for the number of bats that we have, that we could create more ledges for the bats to hang from, and remove some of the propping that's never utilized. Michelle responded by stating the exhibit should be bigger in theory, but we were giving these bats from a different department, and this was the best exhibit that we had available for them. I told her that I understand, and I respect that sometimes you have to work with what you're given. Additionally, she mentioned that the vine props that aren't used by the bats could do with removing, but if we then decided to add more props, it would make the space feel more cramped and look much smaller. I really enjoyed being able to bounce ideas off Michelle, and felt like she really listened and considered what I was saying. Before keepers leave an enclosure, we place food and water and go through a checklist, which includes enrichment items, which are items that animals can interact with in a way that makes them think. I brought up that many other people that I had worked at fruit bats with thought that we should incorporate enrichment for them because currently they get none. I expressed that I agreed with their suggestions because they never see anything different. Even their food bowls go in the same place every day. Michelle felt a similar way, but she explained that before we got the bats, in our area they had a massive die-off, so anything that could have been a factor was removed, such as enrichment, using certain cleaners, and the amount of keepers that were allowed to work them. However, removing all of these factors simultaneously left it hard to determine the actual cause. She stated that in the last year, our facility has started to let more keepers, like myself, work with these bats again. She also told me that she would reach out to the rest of the team to get more feedback. With this feedback, she let me know that she would attempt to set up a meeting with our supervisor to see what options we could take moving forward to help the bats thrive. By the end of our conversation, Michelle had made me feel listened to, respected, and taught me a few things along the way, as well as seeming to make a difference in our animals' lives. This was a very successful conversation with my manager, and I felt lucky to be able to learn a lot from her and appreciate how she interacts with myself and others. This experiment will help me also think about how my responses to my peers and supervisors will affect our interactions and how simply always aiming to respect one another can go a long way. Thank you.